Hey everyone, how's it going? This is Ark, back with another random commentary video yet again. This is going to be our thing now for a while, at least until I get used to it. We're still very much a beginner, all things considered, in the art of video making, and we're recording from a different program this time around. I hope you'll enjoy the improvement in audio quality. So anyways, today I wanted to talk about the new banner. So, as of patch 4.5, we now have a new banner type, the Chronicled Wish series. Yes, the gacha game has, well, finally expanded its gacha system. The last major update to the gacha system was the inclusion of the double character banner all the way back in patch 2.3. That's a pretty long time ago. They implemented this just to keep up to make sure the characters could still rotate and get featured on time, but now they've taken a step further and committed to the Chronicled Wish as the next step. I decided to wait until after the release of the banner itself to talk about it because, first of all, I can just hover over this banner all day long for video footage. Yeah, that's the only reason. Just kidding. There's that, and there was plenty of Doom posting in the community prior to the release, and while I do love to read a good Doom posting every once in a while, it usually doesn't last. So, this is the Chronicled Wish series. It's like a 2-in-1 banner for 5-star weapons and 5-star characters. You can either pick any of the 5-star characters or any of the 5-star weapon from the chosen roster of 5 stars. And depending on which category you end up picking in, you will only receive 5 stars from within that category. So, for example, if I end up picking Eula as the character I want, then it just becomes a standard 50-50 where you either have a 50% chance of getting Eula or you have a 50% chance of getting the other 5-star characters that you don't pick, and the fate point represents the guarantee. I mean, we all know how the system works at this point, so this is just nothing new. What is new, however, are the two major caveats to this banner. The first one is that your guarantee, or your fate point, disappears when the banner expires. Oh geez. If you're relying on winning the 50-50, there's a good chance you have thrown away an entire soft pity for basically nothing, so that is a huge downside. The second, related to the first, is that the Chronicled Wish only lasts for the standard 21 days, so it lasts for the same length as the ongoing character banners, in this case for Chiori and Ito. So, what kind of characters are eligible for this banner? The official site says that the character must have appeared on the event banner at least 3 times, and it must not have appeared recently in an event wish, which means that any character with 2 or more reruns will be in the pool. Of course, standard characters will likely rotate every once in a while, if only to prevent the banner from just being too attractive to pull on. It's important to note here the count of 3 appearances. These are the current characters whom have 3 appearances or more. As you can see, Sino here is where the cutoff happens. You have Sino's portrait here, and then you see him appear 2 more times down the timeline. Same with Nahida. So everybody released before Sino. Tignari is a standard character. Yelan, Ayato, Yai, Miko, Shenhe. Every single character up here has had 2 reruns or more, which makes them eligible. And to address what they mean by not recently appeared in an event wish, recent isn't really much to go off of, but with the inclusion of Eula and Klee, they have at least established a minimum length they're willing to go. This is currently patch 4.5, and those 2 that have been included were last reran on patch 3.8, which means that you should expect 6 patches gap at the very minimum, as a precedent that they've set for this banner. This would, of course, mean that if they were to run another Chronicled Wish in patch 4.6, characters that would be eligible to be put in the pool would now include Child, Zhongli, Ganyu, Kokomi, Yelan. So that's a pretty impressive roster, all things considered. They didn't mention any specific rules for the weapons, so I assume they'll be using all standard 5-star weapons, with the addition of limited 5-star weapons that are either unavailable, their signatures of standard characters like the Beacon of the Reed Sea and the Hunter's Path, or their character signatures like Song of Broken Pines that go with the corresponding featured character. Now, obviously, whether this banner is worth it or not depends on how badly you want the characters on there. Albedo hasn't been on a banner since a year and a half, and Eula had that massively long drought between 2021 and 2023. So if you really want a character on here and you have the guarantee, then of course it's worth it. Go ahead, have fun. The more interesting subject here is how this banner compares to the event banner design-wise. In the character event banner, the standard pool is fixed. In other words, when you lose a 50-50, you'll automatically get a character from the pool which has been consistent across the game's lifespan, save for instances where either a standard 5-star was featured or when a new 5-star was added to the standard pool. The biggest selling point of the Chronicled Wish, in my opinion, is the sheer potential of the character pool itself. Let's just take this current Chronicled Wish for example. There are currently 3 limited characters in this pool: Eula, Albedo, and Klee. There's obviously the 50-50, so if you pick one of them, there's a cumulative 20% chance of getting one of the other two. Because since there's 5 characters you could lose the 50-50 to, 50 divided by 5 is 10, so there's a 10% chance that you get any of the other given 5-star characters. This gives you a staggering 70% chance to land a limited 5-star. 50% chance, obviously, is to win the 50-50 and just straight up get it the first time, but then that other 20% chance is a chance to get one of the other 2 limited 5-stars you didn't pick, which would then give you a guarantee back to the character that you did pick. While these particular options may not be the most enticing, like setting course for Eula and then losing to Albedo or Klee, this is the proof of concept of an incredibly powerful buff over the event Wish banner: the chance of losing the 50-50 to another limited character. To put this into perspective, one can consider the ongoing event banners of Chiori and Ito. We'll use these two as an example for how this would work in Chronicled Wish. So imagine you set course for Chiori and then you pull for Chiori. If this was the Chronicled Wish banner, then Ito would be in the loser's pool. You would pull for Chiori with a 10% chance to lose to Ito and a 40% chance to lose to one of the 4 other characters that you don't want. The reason I'm using this double banner example is because this is exactly the difference between the Chronicled Wish and the original Albedo Eula double banner, which was also the first double banner in the game. What a satisfying coincidence, am I right? So, as a proof of concept, this banner has far greater potential than the event banner, provided you desire more than one character, and provided you have enough wishes to guarantee. It's also important to note that you might want to be careful with the temples on this banner, especially when wishing near soft pity. If you end up with multiple 5-stars in a single temple, you might have just wasted a free guarantee. So let's say you chose Eula for this run, you get Eula in the temple, and then you end up getting a Klee. Well, that's a wasted guarantee if you're not going to claim it by the end of the banner, so that's probably going to happen to somebody. Who am I kidding? The banner's already out. There's a good chance somebody already went and did it. Well, I hope they don't regret it. The best way I can describe the weapon path in the Chronicled Wish is that it's more consistent, but less rewarding. The pity is higher than the weapon banner, and the chance of getting a non-featured weapon is much higher, which, if you count both of them, there's a 75% chance of getting one of the two, and only a 50% chance of getting the one you picked. It really depends on how you measure it, because the chance of getting something not from the list is only 25% chance here. So if you have a weapon banner with 2 good weapons that you're okay with getting, it is better, I think, than the Chronicled Wish. Truth be told, a full mathematical analysis on the weapon banner and comparing it to the Chronicled Wish is an undertaking outside the scope of my patience. So I can't really give a formal verdict there. Regardless, if you're wishing for a weapon, the rule stays the same. Don't wish without a full guarantee. Overall, the concept of this banner itself isn't that bad, even despite its very apparent flaws. Like, for example, I have no idea why they decided to make the banner only last half the patch. So when it expires, we'll be left with the second half where it's just temporarily removed from the game. Like, that's weird. I'd expect this to at least last an entire patch cycle, especially if there's nothing that's going to replace it for a whole 21 days. Second, the guarantee disappears after the banner. Now, I do understand this limitation is to limit somewhat how insane the banner would be if there was a better character pool, but it does leave a sour taste in your mouth when you stand to lose so much without a guarantee. Like, if you don't come in with enough wishes, you'll just face much higher stakes for losing. I really think you should have one or the other. Either make the banner last the full 42 days, or make the guarantee carry over. And third, this is just a personal pet peeve of mine, but they really should have made it possible to wish on this banner with the Acquaint Fates. Acquaint Fates are pretty much a dead currency at this point, so much so that I barely find any motivation to even level up my battle pass to collect them. When I save primos for a long time, I even tend to not purchase Acquaint Fates sometimes from the Stardust shop, since Stardust can only be acquired through wishing, and there were times in the past when I saved for a long time and ran out of Stardust. I'm aware that such a thing would power creep the standard banner and make it nearly useless, since there's just no reason to wish on the standard banner anymore if you could wish on the Chronicled Wish with the Acquaint Fates. But Acquaint Fate generation is already so absurdly low to begin with. You'll get them from the Battle Pass, you'll get them from exploration rewards, monthly startup shop resets, and ascending characters. Generally, players can only earn about 10 or so Acquaint Fates a month from a renewable resource, which is nothing. Oh, right. There's also one other thing I forgot to mention in the original script. The 4 stars. 4 stars also favor the event banner because, well, the Chronicled banner's 4-star setup is a bit strange. There's no rate up for any specific 4-star, and the particular roster is just a little bit weird. Like, you have, the 4-star lineup here, you have a whole bunch of weapons, but the 4-star characters, it's not all the characters, as you can see. Here in particular, I think all of the 4-star lineup is of Mondstadt characters. So you have a smaller pool, which I suppose means that there's a higher chance for you to get the original 4 stars like Amber, Kaya, and Lisa. But aside from that, the variance here is just way too high. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. There's over 34 stars in the 4-star pool for the Chronicled Wish banner, which is still much smaller than the standard banner, or if you lose a 50-50 on the character event wish, which is something, I guess, but obviously it's not going to be reliable to get anything you want, and certain characters are just removed from the pool entirely, and this particular lineup just isn't all that attractive. And well, while 4 stars don't exactly have the biggest presence in Genshin Impact, there's only very few instances you would try to pull on a 5-star banner just to get a specific 4-star. That still is a thing sometimes when super, really good 4 stars are available. For example, Faruzan or Bennett or Xiangling or Xingqiu or Chevrus as one of the latest examples. But yeah, if it's a mark that works against the Chronicled Wish, because then there's pity that you might want to throw in the event banner just in case there's a 4-star you want. And that's wishes that's not being spent on the Chronicled Wish, or not being saved for the Chronicled Wish, because as we described earlier, 180 wishes is a pretty high threshold to reach just to guarantee that you can safely wish on this banner without wasting anything. So it's not the biggest mark against the Chronicled Wish, but it is still a substantial turnoff for anybody who wants the 4 stars. I think because of the aforementioned reasons, one of which most importantly is the fact that the fate point does not carry over, most people are probably still going to prefer the character event wish. The character event wish has no barrier of entry. You wish for it, and you don't have to worry about losing any progress when you lose a 50-50, unlike this. So you can just pop 20 wishes on here to go for a character you want, absolutely no problem. But for the Chronicled Wish, You can't really do that. That's a big risk. It would be like, going 60 pulls into a weapon banner and then like, getting, I don't know, getting like Skyward Blade or something. And then you just lose the epitomized path, and then that's pretty much it. So people are still going to prefer the character Event Wish, and the character Event Wish also focuses more on newer characters. And of course, we all know which new character is going to be coming to the game very soon. So, Chronicled Wish just doesn't have the same level of hype unless they were to just give us a super stacked roster with, like, say, Raiden, Kokomi, Yelan, Hu Tao, and whoever else. So, you can safely ignore this banner if you're fully focused on the newer characters, but I think somewhere down the line, there's going to be something really good coming to this banner, in which case people are going to start wishing on it, like, quite a lot. Anyways, that's the end of the video. Final thoughts. I think the banner has a lot of potential. I definitely don't dislike its inclusion into the game, but I still have a few complaints about its implementation. It's really just a matter of having enough wishes to cover the guarantee, and if you can do that, well, the banner becomes really, really good. But it's a tall ask for a lot of players, since 180 wishes takes a long time to save up. We'll have to wait and see what future cycles of this banner looks like, but right now those are my thoughts. Feel free to tell me down in the comments if you like this banner or not. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.